Hi.
So what are we making today?
Today we're making turkey with broccoli and cauliflower, and we call it almost tastes like Thanksgiving. So it's one of our favorite meals. And this is again for two people with the low-fat cooking recipes on a calorie restricted diet. So this is 91% turkey, so it's the leanest you can find, but you can do a little bit more fat if you want, but I prefer to do almost fat-free. So this is 7 ounces for two people. So when you start cooking, it'll be about 3.5 ounces for one person. And again, with no fat, we are going to put it in a skillet that's preheated just a little bit. And turkey is a little bit more tricky than everything else because, like I said, it's super lean. So I like to season it right away with a little bit of salt. This is poultry seasoning, so it has a mix of sage and thyme and whatever, other seasoning you like, but that's what usually goes into Thanksgiving dinner. So this is 1 teaspoon of poultry seasoning, and I will use half with the turkey and then half with the vegetables. Garlic powder. Again, garlic powder, you can use as much as little as you like. I probably will use about a tablespoon of garlic for this recipe. And chicken stock, chicken broth, and you want to obviously put it in because you don't have, so I measured 1 cup, and that most likely will be fine for the whole recipe. But you want to start steaming the meat and breaking it up and mixing it with the flavor. So it is a little bit challenging in the beginning, but once it gets heated, it will be easier to separate into bite-sized pieces. So I'm just gonna let this cook for a little bit, uncovered. So you keep separating the meat. Obviously it's still looking like it's raw in some places. I will add fresh ground pepper. If you don't like pepper, just don't use it. And once you can separate them, then you can cover the lid and let the rest of the meat cook under the cover. So it's steaming or braising basically. And this we will leave on for 1 minute to 2 minutes on lower heat. So after 2 minutes, I check. It still looks like it's not ready because it has some pink in it. So I did wash my spatula to make sure that it didn't have any raw meat. And you can continue with another 2 minutes. So after 2 minutes, so the total is probably, you have to check with your own temperature of the stove, but there is no more pink, so I'm taking this as it's done, right? Now, if you're cooking for one person, you do not have to remove this meat out. You just add vegetables on top of it. But because I'm cooking for 2 people, I have to accurately measure 3 ounces per person. So I weigh my plate, make sure it's zeroed out. And both of the plates I pre-weighed already, so they weigh the same. So they should be 0 on the scale. And now I'm going to add the meat to the plate to remove it so it's identical portion size per person. So without the broth, this is, we're gonna wait until we get 3 ounces. And this is 3.2, so still 3.2. 3.1. So I'm assuming this is probably getting close. Yeah, so that's exactly 3. 2.6. So sometimes I have to adjust the once so it's 3.1. So sometimes I have to adjust it because once the moisture evaporates, it ends up being a little bit less than 3. So whatever I have left, I will keep it separate. And then if that is still not right, then I will add, like if it end up being 2.9. So I will check later before I add it. Okay, so now I have the skillet from the turkey that I was cooking. I'm gonna add rest of the chicken stock. I'm going to add my garlic. If it's too much, you don't have to add as much. I'm gonna probably not use all of it. I'm gonna use the rest of the turkey seasoning, poultry seasoning, to make the flavor. I will add a little bit of the salt and fresh ground pepper to my broth. And this is going to be my base. Okay, so in the video we realized that we didn't have the video on, so I just want to go over what I put in there. In the same skillet that I was cooking the turkey, I added the rest of the broth. I put in the broth, I put garlic and the rest of the poultry seasoning and salt and pepper. And I put the cauliflower rosettes, and I'm gonna cook those on a medium heat for about 4 minutes, maybe 3 minutes. I have to check, but the reason why I'm putting cauliflower in first is because it takes longer to cook than broccoli. So I'm gonna check after 2 minutes, maybe 3, but I will be back. So I'm gonna check after about 4 to 5 minutes to see if my cauliflower is ready. And yes, it's still hard, but we need to cook the broccoli, so I'm going to add the broccoli to it now. And that's going to steam in the broth for the rest of the time, about, I would say, for another 4 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes. And again, cover it up. So now I want to show you that my scale was measured, we measured the meat, and it was at 3 ounces. Now, because the moisture evaporated, is at 2.9. So I'm going to add a little bit of the protein that I cooked, which is the turkey, to make it, and I know this is maybe too much, but if you would like to add it, it's at 2.8. So I want to add to make sure then it's closer to 3. Since you're having a limited amount, you want to get at least 3 twice a day. So now that's 3. Okay, so 2 minutes into cooking, when the broccoli is still green, I will add, and this is what I consider going into my stuffing every Thanksgiving. So this is about, I would say maybe half a cup of fresh chopped parsley, and I use only flat leaf parsley. I don't use curly leaf parsley because it just doesn't have the same flavor. And this is a fresh chopped chives. So you can use scallions, you can use dry chives, but this actually is from my garden that Cindy grows for me. So I just wanted to make sure that I show you off these wonderful herbs. So the more fresh herbs, you can find those things readily available in the grocery store, but chives may not be available fresh, so you can use dry chives, or you can use scallions, and then cook it and give it another probably 1 minute to finish it off. So this is ready. It's been about 1 minute to 2 minutes. And if you have 2 people, you can divide it, obviously, you don't have to weigh vegetables, just to make an even amount of broccoli and cauliflower. If you like to make this more like a soup, you can always have more broth or add a little bit more water. I'm gonna use it just for a little bit, almost like a gravy flavor, so I don't wanna dilute it. If you are cooking for 1 person or you like to reheat the turkey, you can always put this on top and put the lid back on and reheat it. But you don't have to. The vegetables will reheat the meat just enough. But if you like your meal hot, obviously you want to make sure that you put it back in to reheat. So this is all kind of one pot also cooking. So one skillet cooking, so it's easy to clean. It's not cumbersome that you have to have ton of dishes. But that basically is what I call almost Thanksgiving turkey meal. Enjoy.
That's amazing. And it's all mine.